Morning. Give it a couple more. Well, I guess we won't. Hold still. Someone just texted me asking me if I was busy this morning. Katie, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, have you read the book, A Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat?
Yes, I did.
Okay, awesome. Great. Well, we can have a discussion about it. That's what we had on the plan for today. So
Yeah, so I read The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, and I did all of my Ordinary Men stuff.
Oh, awesome. Including
but that's as far as I've gotten. I haven't done any quizzes yet.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I mostly I was worried about you reading some of the book so that we could discuss it today. Otherwise, you'd be completely lost. And now I've got a couple other people on here, but it would be kind of a weird discussion if you hadn't read it. If it were just you and I, so
yeah.
Okay, so this is actually the last discussion we're going to have about the man who mistook his wife for a hat. And this is going to kind of sum it up. So this is what I would have given you after we had read the book to write your paper on. And of course, the paper was worth a test grade. So maybe today's discussion about these questions will give you some stuff to write in a paper that you can then send to me, and I'll substitute that for a test grade. And again, it's just pass fail. So as long as you take something away from this discussion and can write a page or two on it for me based on these questions, then you get 100% on it. So it's 100% added to the test category for extra credit there. So let me get started here. I guess today is the first Tuesday of the month. All of a sudden the sirens went off.
I know, it scares me.
All right, so let's start off with, and again, I want you to be able to refer back to the book when I ask you. And these are kind of broader, kind of existential questions. And these are questions that Dr. Sachs is actually asking in the book about these things. Maybe not outright, but he certainly has given us a lot of food for thought here in this. And I think one of the big questions he asks is, what exactly makes you a person?
I feel like you have a certain amount of biological traits, and I'm not going to say personality traits because I feel like that's what the whole book was about, but like you have the certain biological traits that show that you are biologically a human.
So give me an example.
I mean, every single one of these people were trying to fit into society, almost all of them. All of them, wanted to have the feeling to walk or talk, or, like all of them expressed like basic, I want to say, instincts that a human should do, but some of them obviously could not. I don't know where I'm going with this, Mr. Klein. I just woke up. I had a really good thought and everything, and now
it just escaped you. I have those moments. I thought it was because I was getting old, but do you guys agree with her?
I think the thing that makes you a person is definitely your personality, the way you act, but some part of the way that you are raised, you act mostly by mimicking how other people, that's how you speak, you copy. So I think the things that make you a person are the things that are around you, and that's what develops you.
You have to memorize those things, though? I mean, you have to have some aspect of memory, right?
Yeah.
But what about the patients in there who had those severe memory problems? The 51st dates patients.
Yeah.
Are they less of a person?
No.
Then what is it exactly? I mean, Jillian uses a very anthropological, if we have biological traits. Well, I mean, does a zygote have the biological traits of a human?
Yeah.
So it's human. We shouldn't have abortion. We shouldn't kill it. I'm not trying to sway you either way, so don't get me wrong. Either way you answer, it will lead us to something. So I'm not judging you based on your answer, but I mean, it certainly is, what exactly is it that makes us a person? And it's a question that is kind of troubling also, because how do you define someone as not a person? And like I said with the abortion thing, how then do you get into how you treat them? Is it, if they're not really a person, can you treat them in ways you wouldn't treat someone that you do consider a person? Or is everybody a person? And what gives us that human spirit? Not, I wrote these questions after reading his book from a very singular viewpoint, in that I'm the father of 2 mentally disabled children. I don't know what they remember, whether they have memory of things. They certainly don't have speech capability. Is it okay to treat them differently than other people based on how we're defining what people are? So let's go to question number 2. How is your identity formed? And why don't we combine that with question number 3 and say, what constitutes your identity? And Katie kind of started us out on this, that we mimic others maybe as a way of forming our identity. Does that mean our identity is not really something inherent to us, but it's a reflection of how others see us?
I can see that.
How so? And which
I
one?
mean, okay.
You can see what?
So, I could see the mimicking and stuff, because when you're growing up, I mean, like, everybody, like, you try and do what your parents are doing, or something like that. Like, everybody does, I don't know, dude.
I would say you're right, Jillian. At first, it would start out that way, growing up and stuff. But then I feel like once you get older, that's when that's when you start seeing yourself through others' eyes, and that's how I guess you would that's how you see yourself, or your identity would be.
Is that what constitutes your identity then?
I think it would, because I mean, so like my identity, I would describe myself as like a short, somewhat outgoing person, but then to other people that don't see me that way, they would describe me to their friends as, shy maybe, or things like that. So I would say that would.
So do you see your identity then as short and shy?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't see myself that way.
So
But
what
then
you're saying
others.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Katie. I didn't mean to cut you off. Lag in the audio.
That's how others may see me, and that would be their given identity of me.
So is your identity, the way you see yourself, formed because of that? What you're saying is it's not formed because of how those others saw you. Can we recreate ourselves? If you grow up in a small town like Marshall and you've been here your whole life and people judge you based on your family, what you did in 2nd grade, that you had an accident in class, or things like that, can you move somewhere else and just recreate yourself?
I think you might be able to try, but I don't know if you would truly be able to.
You're gonna still have how you see your own self with you.
But is that defined by how others see you, or can I make others see me in a different way?
I mean, I feel like it's both. Like, you see what you think you are, and other people are always gonna like see that. So I mean, if a lot of people aren't gonna see your true self. So I mean, you can take your true self with you, but not everyone's gonna see you in the same light. Every single person's not gonna see you the same way.
What if you don't have the ability to communicate your true self to others? Is that going to leave you, does that leave you kind of like in a prison?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
Is it kind of our job then as mental health professionals then to, you know, try to find ways for people to break out of that prison rather than assigning them, you're schizophrenic, you're this, you have a seizure disorder, and defining them as that? Because I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what Dr. Sack's point was in the book. All right, let me move on to question number 4 here. What memories do people retain? You think back your earliest memory. What's your earliest memory you can remember?
Dude.
I think it's the ones that stand out the most.
Such as? What is
Like,
your earliest memory? I'll
feel like
start off. I'll share mine. I don't know how. I had to be 3 or 4. I doubt I was 2. Well, I couldn't have been 2. Chris wasn't born yet. I had to be 3 or 4. Chris, my next youngest brother, I'm the oldest of 3, is about a year and a half. Well, he was born in December of 72. I was born in January of 71. So almost 2 years younger than me. I remember we had ordered pizza delivery. He had fallen and cut his eye on the end of an end table and blood gushing everywhere. And my parents gave me the money to go pay the pizza guy. Now, that's a very innocuous memory. I have no clue why I remember that, but that is my earliest memory. What's yours?
mine is when I would have been 2 because Gabe was still just a baby and we're roughly 2 years apart. My dad had just deployed for his first time to Afghanistan, and we stayed with our mom and her friend, and we lived in Brownsburg, Indiana, and we had a tornado. And I remember sitting there in a basket, like a clothes basket in front of the TV. And my mom and her friend, the lights went out and it was dark. And I saw them run towards the bathroom. They grabbed Gabe and they grabbed me. And we had like a huge tornado that night.
Oh. Jillian, what's your earliest memory?
I was 4 and I might have been 3. I might have been 3 or 4. I can't remember, but we were at this playground with my cousins and stuff. And you know those things where like you hold on to the little loopy thing and like you can let go and it can like, I don't know, it's like a playground toy. Well, we were like swinging on it and my older cousin grabbed my legs and like as I was hanging on it, he grabbed on it and I couldn't hold us both up, so I fell and I broke my leg.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember that part, but I remember my mom saying, if you stand up, I'll give you a Hershey's bar. Because, like, I loved chocolate as a kid. So, like, I remember that. I don't remember anything else, but she was like, I'll give you a Hershey's bar if you stand up. And I didn't stand up, and that's how we knew I broke up my leg.
Kevin?
Mine was back when I still lived in Paris before I was like adopted. I was young. I had to be like 3, maybe. Yeah, I had to be 3 because my younger sister was still a baby and we're almost 3 years apart. But I used to love Winnie the Pooh, and at the time I lived with my biological dad's mom, and so every year we'd wait until around Christmas because my birthday's in December, and we went downtown and we saw the parade because they always just have this like Christmas parade down at the square. And then we went back to our house, and I remember it was me and like 2 or 3 of my friends, and I had this Tinkerbell tent, and we always slept in there and had little freaking campouts in our living room, and we'd drink like chocolate milk, and we'd just like lay there and watch movies. But that was one of the first birthdays my parents got to come to, and my grandma made me this big 3-layered Winnie the Pooh cake.
Wow.
And he was holding a jar of honey, and she literally wrote the word honey on it.
It was
And for
spelled
some reason,
H-U-N-N-Y.
that's the one birthday I remember in Paris.
Wow. So note that all of our memories seem to be around 3 or 4, our earliest ones. Did you notice that? What's that say about, I mean, are little people human then? They don't have any memories or any way to form their identity?
I mean, they are forming their identity though, so I would say that they are human.
Is there any common theme amongst the memories we shared?
They were all like a big memorable, obviously a memorable moment, but it
Well,
was
3 of ours were very traumatic.
yeah.
Now, I don't know about heaven, and I don't want to go too much into her personal life, particularly when she was younger. But I mean, was this a almost traumatic event? Not in a bad way, not in the normal connotation of traumatic, but traumatic in that it was so unique that your parents were there for your birthday that it's something that you remember.
It's because I wasn't used to them being around.
Yeah.
Because my whole life I lived with my dad's mom, because me, Angel, and my younger sister all have different dads. But they always called my dad their dad because they didn't know at the time. And so my sister Angel went and she lived with our Aunt Jessica for a while, and then Jade went with her, and then I lived with my dad's parents. And so
Okay.
that was like the first time the whole family got to come back together.
Okay. So does this match up with what Dr. Sacks's patients were remembering? For example, the 2 older Irish women that heard music in the background. Obviously, these were memories they retained, but they were memories. One woman was remembering songs she could care less about. The other woman was reflecting on childhood memories she thought she had lost way long ago. So what memories do people retain? Is there a rhyme or reason to what we retain?
I mean, I feel like there's always going to be some, I don't want to say careless, but not non-momentous memories that everyone remembers.
Why? You'd think
'Cause
with the limited storage space in our brain that some things would just be.
Well, memories shape how a person is. So
Okay.
I don't see how any of that wouldn't be important.
So what we've talked about here are our identity, our memories. Do they shape what it means for us to be human, or are we just a complex machine? Meaning the brain's just a complex computer. When something's wrong with the machine, like for my son Cade, his seizure disorder, when something is wrong with the machine, does that mean, okay, he's broke?
No.
Then what religious and spiritual implications does the answer to that question call forth? If people are not just machines, or not just a biological machine put together that when something breaks, they're broke. If there's something more distinct about humanity, that there's some spark in there, a collection of identities and memories that aren't part of this wired machine that only holds so much, that we can remember things that maybe aren't really important to us, or things that happened long ago we can still recall, then what does that mean religiously, spiritually, or even for the field of psychology? What does that mean? Believe it or not, I've asked you this question before at the beginning of the course when we looked at Descartes and Locke. If we're not machines, what are we?
Isn't it was like a creation by a divine being or something like that?
Well, most religions would claim that, yes. And I'm not talking specifically Christianity. I'm not even talking, organized religion, but certainly spirituality would claim this as well, even though you might be agnostic. Agnostics believe in a higher power, but not necessarily a God. Or believe in God, but not in the organized religion. If we are a collection of our memories, and our identity is formed by our experiences and our memory, what does that make each one of us?
Like a walking and talking picture book. Like your photo album.
Like a lot of other books?
No, because okay.
So each one of us is
unique,
individual. If
yes.
Each one of us is unique and an individual, doesn't that speak to some sort of soul, something that is not part of the whole? If I took a piece of paper, Heaven, can I rip up your notes?
Sure.
I don't know why I have your notes sitting here, but I do. I'm just going to tear off the last page and do it. I've already graded them, so. What is this?
Piece of paper.
Piece of paper. One piece of paper, right? I mean, there's no denying it. I mean, it is a piece of paper. But if I do this, now what do I have in my hands?
Pieces of paper.
What'd you say?
Multiple pieces of paper.
But each one is distinct and unique and different, right?
Yep.
So if we were machines, wouldn't we just be a copy of the machine and everybody would be the same? If we're not machines, if we are distinct and unique and operate in different ways, doesn't that bring to mind in psychology how we should treat patients or clients? That maybe just, we prescribe this drug, this will cure everybody. Is there a one-size-fit-all approach? Like when my car goes bad, if the piston blows, I replace the piston or the engine. That's pretty expensive to replace the piston, but either way, it doesn't matter what car it is, they all pretty much operate in the same way. Is that true with people?
Nope.
And if not, then religiously, doesn't it beg the question, do we each have a unique soul that's different from the whole being? What trait of humanity do simpletons bring into sharp focus, in your opinion? Like all the people he talked about who could do extraordinary things, even though they were considered mentally, and he uses the old word retarded, but certainly we could say mentally deficient, mentally disabled.
Like, what did they all have in common?
Yeah. What struck you as, oh my gosh, they're people?
They tried to express themselves through, I don't want to say a form of art, but a lot of them tried to express themselves and their personality through a form of art or music or, just
A
they
deeper
had this,
understanding of math, a sense, a
yeah,
sensual experience that we can't, engage in, such as enhanced smell, or, I mean, in that was someone who had taken drugs, yes, but there are things that we haven't experienced in the world. We would certainly look at someone who's taking drugs all the time as someone, okay, you're way off. You're not the normal human. You should be treated differently, like cured of your addiction. And I'll agree completely with you. And I'll even add one more thing. I don't think it's just, I think it's communication of their individuality, not just their, talents, that their talents are kind of what make them individuals. So with that in mind, what can we, if disorders and pathologies allow us to express ourselves and our individuality, then what can we consider to be a disorder or pathological in psychology?
I would consider a disorder to be something that doesn't allow you to express yourselves to express yourselves as everyone else does.
But isn't that what makes us that unique individual?
It does, for sure. Everyone has a different way of expressing
So
themselves.
is everybody suffering from a disorder?
Oh yeah. That took a U-turn right there.
And if everybody's suffering from a disorder, is it really a disorder? If everybody is sick, is it really a pathological?
You got me there.
I don't know how to answer that.
And some of these things are deep questions. There might not be an answer. I'm basically, if you type this out, I'm looking for your thoughts on this. I'm not looking for
I feel like
because
there's
these are deep questions. I mean, I'll go back to the religious and spiritual implications, number 6. This was taken up by Plato. Whether, man has a soul and is a part of the whole. All right, last question, next question. How should the related fields under the umbrella of psychology treat people who are suffering from disorders?
As individuals.
That's certainly what Dr. Sachs would argue, but is that feasible? Do I have to come up with 1 million different drugs to cure COVID-19 because there's 1 million different people suffering from it?
It can have
I feel like there's certainly plenty of disorders that may have the same routine to treat it. It may not be exactly the same, but it's very similar. So I would not say every single individual treatment for every single individual disorder is different.
Last question, just in the interest of time here, moving along. Sigmund Freud said something along the lines of, and I can't remember the exact quote now, that love is work and work is love.
Yeah.
How does that play out in Dr. Sachs' patients and in our own lives?
Well, I think of the one patient, he was a simpleton, but he expressed himself through art, and he loved like environmental stuff.
Jose.
So, what? Jose. Yeah. Well, that was his love, was expressing himself through art, and that ended up being his job at that I don't want to say it was a hospital, but it was a center for people, and that ended up being his job. Like, that was his work, and that was his one true love, was expressing himself so people understood them. But it was like the environmental sciences stuff.
So do you think we should treat, people who suffer from pathologies and disorders as individuals, allow them to express themselves, or do we treat them as machines and fix them? Is kind of what I'm getting at here with Freud's statement.
I feel like you for sure have to treat everyone as an individual and treat everyone as if they are unique. And that's going with people that don't even have disorders and stuff. But there is a fine line where if they are a potential harm to themselves or other human beings, then you can't treat them like everybody else sometimes.
Okay, do you guys have any closing thoughts here on the
Nope.
book? Or okay, well, that wraps up this book for the semester. Tomorrow when we come back, I'll start on Unit 5, which we'll get into psychological disorders now and talk about those. So like I said, if you want to get 100% on a test, just write something up about these questions, a page or two, and hopefully this helps guide you as to what you should consider while you're writing it up. If you guys don't have any other questions, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.